What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another guide for Marvel Rivals. Today I wanted to tell you everything that you need to know to succeed on the battlefield as Peni Parker. Peni has quickly become one of my favorite go-to heroes in Marvel Rivals, and I wanted to take you through what you need to know in order to dominate the battlefield as everyone's favorite alternate dimension Spider-Girl. Peni Parker is a Vanguard hero, which means that she's a part of this game's cast of tanks. She has 650 health, putting her in line with the average health value of Vanguards in the game. Peni is going to serve best in an off-tank role, with her strongest aspects being trapping and area denial. So let's break down each of Peni's abilities one by one, and then we'll go into some in-depth strategies. Peni's primary fire is the Cyberweb Cluster, a projectile shot that does 30 damage per hit. The damage is split between 15 damage on impact, plus 15 spell field damage, which is area of effect damage. The blast radius is not massive, but you can hit the ground for a teeny bit of chip damage. Her bullets have no damage fall off, and she also never has to reload, so go ahead and shoot as much as you want from as far away as you really want to be. Her right-click ability is called the Cyberweb Snare, which functions in two different ways. When fired on the ground, a cyberweb is placed down. If Peni is standing in the cyberweb, she receives a 25% movement boost as well as 25 healing per second. Cyberweb also allows her to obtain bonus health, maxing her health bar at 800, but if she steps out of the cyberweb for too long, the bonus health will rapidly decay. Peni has a maximum of 3 cyberwebs that she can have out at one time. Of course, there's also the snare part of the Cyberweb Snare. An enemy hit by this ability is wrapped up in a spiderweb, becoming totally unable to move for 0.7 seconds. This will even cause flying heroes like Iron Man to just start slowly falling towards the ground. Peni's E ability is the Arachno Mine, letting her throw a mine down that activates when it gets stepped on, dealing a whopping 100 damage on impact. She can hold 4 charges of the Arachno Mine, with each taking 4 seconds to recharge. Although this will likely never come up in actual gameplay, she can have a total of 15 mines on the battlefield at once. When a mine is placed into a cyberweb, that mine is invisible to the enemy. Peni's shift ability is the Bionic Spider Nest, and this one is by far the most important piece of her kit. When placed, the Bionic Spider Nest places down a massive area of cyberweb, as well as dropping 2 spider drones every 3 seconds, with a maximum of 8. These drones will run in and explode on an enemy within the spider nest, dealing 40 damage on hit. The nest has 350 health and goes on a 15-second cooldown when it gets destroyed. Her F ability is the Cyber Bond, which tethers Peni to a cyberweb. If fired at a distance, this tether will zip Peni forward. Once placed, if Peni moves 10 meters away from the tether and stops moving, she'll be zipped back to the tether point. You'll know this tether zip will activate when the reticle on screen turns yellow. Peni will untether if line of sight is broken with the tether point, or she can attach herself by hitting F again. This ability has a 3-second cooldown. Peni is a spider person after all, so of course she can run up walls. While jumping toward a wall, hold the spacebar and Peni will be able to wall crawl. Peni's ultimate ability is the Spider Sweeper. When activated, she'll go into a hyper-powered sprint for 12 seconds. In this mode, her maximum health becomes 1250 and she gains a 70% movement speed. She also automatically lays down cyberweb wherever she moves and continuously drops those homing spiders. While in this mode, her left click becomes a spider sweep melee attack that does 60 damage per hit and launches enemies straight up into the air. Her right click allows her to drop up to 7 Arachno Mines. When the ultimate ends, all the cyberwebs that got placed out will disappear, but any mines that got laid will stay out. And now that we've broken down all of Peni's moves, let's talk about how you can use them all together to excel on the battlefield. The biggest part of Peni's kit is her spider nest. It can allow for just so much area denial, especially when trying to capture a point. Place the nest behind some cover for safekeeping, and the spider drones are going to do good work at keeping opponents out of the area. Mix these in with some of those mines, which when hidden inside the web, can get in some really big surprise damage. You can also just extend your giant spider nest with webs from your right click. As long as all the webs are connected, your spider drones can and will go after enemies via a chain of webs. Peni's blaster doesn't do a whole ton of damage, but the mixture of no damage fall off and infinite ammo allows you to always be providing fire. If you can get the right angles, you can even get in some unsuspecting KOs against enemies who are quite far away on the battlefield. Don't be afraid to reposition your spider nest. You can pull it up by hitting shift a second time, and its cooldown is determined by how much health it has left. A half damaged nest will only be on cooldown for about 8 seconds, and a full health nest doesn't have a cooldown at all. While Peni is a slow-moving tank, her abilities allow her to have some pretty surprising movement capabilities. Her Cyber Bond can allow you to zip a decent distance and can help you get away from enemy flankers. Or you can just use it to hang up on the ceiling at the start of the match. Use your spider nest and your cyber bond to get back into the battle quickly. Hit shift to place the nest down so you get that movement speed boost while you're running through all the webs, recall it when you're out of the web, then zip forward with your tether, place the nest down, and just do it again and again and again until you're right back into the battle. If someone is approaching you, a mixture of an arachno mine and your web snare does wonders. With careful timing, you can even use your snare to stop certain ultimates, such as Scarlet Witches. Of course, all characters have their weaknesses, and Peni is no exception. Unlike many of the other Vanguards, Peni doesn't have a way of generating shields or barriers for her team, so you're really at your best when there's another Vanguard on the team who can take the role of the main tank. While she's great at denying space, it can be a lot trickier for her to take an area. Her ultimate is good for quickly clearing an area, but it's not likely going to grant you a ton of KOs. Especially that melee attack, which alternates between the left and right arms of the mech and can be a little difficult to get hits in when you're zipping around, especially for an attack that only does 60 damage. And that should be everything you need to know to get swinging with Peni Parker. This is my very first Marvel Rivals character guide, but I do plan on making guides for every other hero in the game. Your feedback on these is greatly appreciated. If you think this was great, let me know. And if you think there's something that may be sorely missing from my guides, I'd love to hear from you as well. And of course, let me know who you want to see next. If I see a lot of hype for a certain hero, I may push them up on the list to get that video out a little bit faster. And of course, finally, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you did enjoy this guide, make sure to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm gonna have a whole lot more Marvel Rivals content coming out in the future. Other than that, have a marvelous day, and I'll see you next time.